Hello everybody, welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing well and that you're all having a great day. To start things off, touted as a way to make the world's most valuable cryptocurrency a more effective payment method, Bitcoin's Lightning Network has a rather large obstacle ahead. It's still challenging, even risky to set up and use. It could be easier though, should developers at the World Wide Web Consortium, or the W3C, the prestigious international group that creates standards for the web, has anything to do with it. The work, which has been ongoing for several years and standards took a long time to release, looks to make online payments easier while giving users more choice by making a variety of payment methods available in the web browsers using an API, and that includes the Lightning Network. They're talking about browsers such as Google Chrome, Firefox, and Microsoft Edge, pretty much the ones that most people use on a daily basis. Sure, the W3C doesn't have a horse in the race as it relates to which payments methods, from as far as Apple Pay to cryptocurrencies, are adopted most widely, but giving developers the option of adding Lightning is a step towards making Bitcoin's two-layer approach more acceptable. Sorry about that. Interest in cryptocurrencies at the W3C's Web Payment Working Group, where the browser API work is taking place, has been pretty high for some time, but the W3C had trouble at first getting Bitcoin developers and other cryptocurrency enthusiasts involved in the work. However, with the help of only a few developers, cryptocurrency is looking compatible with the API, and further than that, Lightning is already compatible with the specification. They said, all in all, we should be able to get the Bitcoin and Lightning network working with the specification without any major roadblocks. This was said by prominent Lightning developer Christian Decker during an email. Such a step forward would put Lightning on a similar footing as more established online payment methods. Desker told CoinDesk, not really need to read much further. I do applaud people for actually trying to. I'm actually shocked at how far people are moving ahead, and how me personally, I think that things could always move a bit quicker, but I think that's because I'm very impatient, especially when it comes to technology. I love the idea of future technology, and I always wish that we were a bit further than we actually are right now. But I like the efforts that people are making in order to kind of not only integrate cryptocurrencies into browsers, but also the idea of integrating the Lightning Network into every browser, especially every major browser, even the minor or smaller browsers that other people may be using, is incredibly fantastic. I told you guys before, I love the idea of being able to run your own node, or having your own node, or having your own node on your phone, or running something that allows the networks to expand as well as become more decentralized than they already are. A lot of the reason why I think this is happening is, if you've noticed the last couple of months, we've received a lot of news where a lot of people have turned hyper bearish on Bitcoin. And that's because we've seen over the course of, even from the summertime, a number of new coins who are launching, who are quicker than Bitcoin, who have a larger network capacity as far as what they can do and what they can store, and how they're dealing with smart contracts and what can be built on top of them. And we've had a couple of things where people have been trying to implement the exact same things on top of Bitcoin. As Bitcoin stands right now, these things you are capable to build some of these things, but they're maybe 10% of where the other ones are on maybe a good day. So it seems like also we've had a lot of people talking about, I don't know if you remember the article from about 2 weeks ago where someone was saying that they were worried for Bitcoin's future simply because as far as scaling goes, they think that as the time goes on and the crypto market becomes larger, Bitcoin's dominance could continue to shrink as more focus is put on the altcoins, as far as if Bitcoin, this is what they said, if Bitcoin can't scale properly or it takes too long, focus will then be shifted to other altcoins who can do what the Lightning Network should be doing in around 2 years' time. And therefore, why wait the 2 years' time when you can just have the other altcoins that are already processing this amount of information and can handle the transaction load as well. But like I said, I love things like this. I hope that this actually ends up continuing. As there's no actual time frame for it, I can only assume that we'll have information, something about this, anywhere from half a year to maybe an entire year from now. But I guess better late than never. And at some point, at least from what we've seen, there are a lot of browsers who are trying to integrate cryptocurrencies, and also a lot of, I guess, even efforts like this. I can only assume this is also happening for other coins as well. It's actually very interesting if we end up having a future where cryptocurrencies and crypto nodes and everything else, and even like scaling options are built into every single thing that we have, as far as like on our laptops, on our browsers, on our computers, on our phones, on our tablets and stuff like that, where the network has found a way to expand, even though typically what they say is that on smaller devices you can't have sometimes like a full node, but even just like a fraction of something that could potentially end up bringing the network forward, I still find to be incredibly cool. So Bittrex is in the news today. The popular US-based exchange known as Bittrex is aiming at expanding its reach across the globe with the launch of the Bittrex International, previously known as Bittrex Malta. The new trading platform will undergo a testing and evaluation period for the next few weeks before opening its doors to international customers. Bittrex International also aims at streamlining the process of approving tokens for listing on the platform. The team at the exchange wants to reduce the time for approval to a few weeks. Traditionally, the process can take months before a token is approved for listing. Tokens and coins currently listed on the main platform of Bittrex.com will also feature in the new exchange. We have a lot of cryptocurrency exchanges right now who are trying to figure out a way to best, I want to say, streamline the approach to being able to put on new coins onto their platform. We've seen Coinbase change their criteria 3 times as far as what coins can go on and how quickly coins can go on. This is why we also had the news around 2 months ago where they were talking about they want to add as many coins as possible and as quick as possible. I can't remember the name of the exact article where it was pretty much something along that line. We want to add new coins as quickly as possible, and this is kind of what caused a bump in prices. We've also seen the same exact thing from Binance, where they were announcing that they're going to try and only add coins that aren't crap coins, as people have been claiming that Binance has been adding just any coin. And this is where they also added as well that when they do add a new cryptocurrency to their platform, that they're also going to be donating all of the fees, if you will, like the listing fees that the other companies pay in order to have their coin listed on top of them. They're going to be donating all of them. And it seems that, when it comes to especially a new cryptocurrency, should, I assume, in the next year or two, this year saw the launch of a whole bunch of cryptocurrencies who were trying to go after Ethereum, and they all claim that they're better than Ethereum. By next year, I can only assume that we're going to have a lot more coins who are going to be trying to take over Stellar and XRP and Bitcoin. Everyone is trying to get for at least the top 10 spots, and taking months to be able to list a new token on a marketplace that is 24 hours a day is not probably very good for business. Bittrex CEO Bill Shihara added that their aim was to be part of the blockchain and technology revolution. There will be no listing fee on the new version. Mr. Shihara also added the following, stating, "We are committed to being a driving force in the blockchain revolution by increasing adoption of this innovative technology around the world. Bittrex International's more efficient token listing process, combined with our reliable, secure, and advanced trading platform technology, will make it easy to quickly feature the newest, most innovative blockchain projects for our international partners and customers. And because we believe it's most important for token teams to invest their time and money in technology and business development, Bittrex International, just like Bittrex.com, will not charge a token listing fee." That's following the same exact thing that they are doing at Binance as well. It is a bit, I don't want to say the word unethical, but there have been so many other crypto exchanges who no longer actually exist. And then we figure out if the entire point of you being in the cryptocurrency economy and hoping for the innovation and pushing the cryptocurrency space forward, and you're charging people $3, $4, $5 million to list their coins that could potentially help people live in a more decentralized world that ends up helping those who are impoverished, and it's, you can't charge people for trying to change the world, if you kind of understand what I'm saying. The listing of the tokens will also adhere to Bittrex's standard initial review process that evaluates the authenticity of the token as well as the quality. Where's the other part that I wanted to talk about? You're going to have to go through KYC, of course, and anti-money laundering things. Here we go. It says residents of the United States will not have access to the new platform and are advised to continue using the parent platform of Bittrex.com. And I think that's simply because of everything that's been happening in the United States. A lot of other exchanges, especially, it's really interesting. A lot of the cryptocurrency exchanges who have been launching over the last year have all announced that at some point in their press release that they will not be offering support to people in the United States. Don't fret. Don't be too upset at this. I can only assume that this is going to take time, that this is eventually going to end up changing, and that all of these products and exchanges and offerings will be allowed for people in the United States. Typically, it's like sometimes they'll allow the United States, but they won't allow New York. It will eventually happen. I know it just can be a bit frustrating when you expect things to happen a bit quicker and they don't actually happen when they happen for everyone else. But they will eventually happen for those who are residing in the United States at this time. Next up, Litecoin is in the news. Gonna breeze through this a tiny bit. Litecoin's forthcoming client release will make it faster and cheaper than Bitcoin Cash, according to one analyst, as developers confirm transaction fees will reduce by 90%. Litecoin Core 0.17, which the Litecoin Foundation said was upcoming in a blog post on its now suspended Medium account, will deliver a host of end-user improvements. Specifically, while Litecoin currently costs around 5 cents in average fees, after the update, this will reduce to around half a cent, which is incredible. There's a photo. This alternative asset performance analyst and LearnCrypto.io president Nick Hellman notes will end the status quo in which Litecoin is more expensive to use than Bitcoin Cash. This fight will never end. I don't foresee a future where the Bitcoin Cash name is not continued to be sullied or people don't like Bitcoin Cash. I'm very excited, and I mean this honestly, that Litecoin's team is continuing to develop on Litecoin. We had a bit of a rough patch during the summer and even the beginning of it, let's say around spring and stuff like that, where people were not too happy with the Litecoin team. It appears that they have revved up their systems and they're trying to at least in some way stay relevant. There was also news, I can't remember who just launched. I think it was Zcash with their sapling update. I believe that's what it was. They also just reduced their fees as well to a fraction of a cent. I think we're eventually, like I said, it takes time for all of these technologies to kind of move quicker and to be more usable during everyday daily life. Half of a cent is exactly what we need in order to have Litecoin be a major cryptocurrency once again, or at least be one that could be considered a payment method in the real world. I don't even think when Bitcoin was having the entire thing last year and it had $30 transaction fees, I think Litecoin's fees maybe hit around $1, and I think they hit around $1. So the fact that they're lowering this, and I can only assume during the next 2 years or something like that, that even fees should potentially be lowered even further, which would be really great. I'm not that I'm slowly becoming more bullish on Litecoin, but I like the updates. I like what they're doing. I like who they're talking about potentially partnering with. And I like the idea that they have all but confirmed that they're trying to add some type of privacy layer on top of Litecoin. For me, that would make Litecoin a front runner once again, simply because I have my own things about how I personally feel about privacy when it comes to transactions and stuff like that. But yeah, I just wanted to touch on that briefly for a second, and let's move on. Tim Draper is in the news. He's usually it's Tim Draper, Mike Novogratz, and Tom Lee, I want to say his name is. These three are the major Bitcoin bulls in the space right now. Tim Draper, a prominent venture capitalist known for his strategic investments, recently spoke about regulation in the cryptocurrency space. Most notably, he spoke about China declaring Bitcoin as illegal and Japan taking an approach to the space in general. Most cryptocurrency investors are waiting for the United States Securities and Exchange Commission to regulate the market, as there are many countries taking the approach between them. Draper stated, I think the SEC is torn, and I think it's okay because they're torn between going after the fraudsters who are taking advantage of the elderly and making sure that all the technology does stay in the United States. They know that it's a competitive world out there, end quote. This is also reflected in the attitudes that governments have towards Bitcoin, with some liking it the way that it is, like China, and some taking a revolutionary attitude towards regulation. This is represented in countries such as Japan, where Draper stated, and I quote, Japan responds to that and says Bitcoin is a national currency in Japan. Here's how you do an ICO. Welcome. You can tell which of these economies over the next 40 years is going to do really well and which one is not, end quote. On the SEC's regulatory approach, Draper elaborated upon the importance of the balance that they brought to the table. He stated that they have a nice, easy, level playing field to incentivize people to come in. The last thing that the SEC wants to do is what China did. He elaborated by saying, not really that important, the rest of what he said. You kind of get the gist of what what he's going for. I don't know if this is him trying to be nice to the SEC, not that he's been inappropriate to them before, but a lot of prominent people in the cryptocurrency space, I think, have also become quite annoyed, simply because these are also the same exact people. Not even that they were trying to hype up the market, but it was believed around summertime that the market would pick back up, especially we had the time frame before, I'm sure you all remember, for September 1st. This was the time that we were quoted as that typically when people come back from holidays and vacations at the end of the summer, that when the normal financial markets tend to have a bit of a pickup as people are trying to make money after the summer season and what have you. And a lot of these predictions that we've had for the cryptocurrency prices have fallen flat, and a lot of people have been going to the SEC, asking them in the nicest way and also having meetings with them as far as looking back over ETFs that have been rejected, as well as people saying, can you please give us some type of a hint as to exactly what's going to happen, if not something in general, just saying exactly what's going to happen to cryptocurrencies. The last day or two, there were a number of people who went to the IRS, if I'm not mistaken, asking them to please provide some type of paperwork or something when it comes to taxes. It seems that people within the states have become very flustered and annoyed when it comes to the entire thing, because no one in no section of their government is giving them any type of information as to what should be done with cryptocurrencies. And I told you all before, many moons ago, one of the most annoying parts about this is not, I mean, we're all relatively annoyed at what's happening or what's been happening in the market. But I was saying before, if you are an institutional investor, one of the richer people, and they're investing potentially hundreds of millions of dollars in this, it's not as easy as cashing out. They made a $75 million profit. You can't just add that to your bank account and then kind of going about your day. You have to know exactly how you're going to be taxed on that. We also have so much information that the SEC not really wanting to give out information because they're afraid of lawsuits and stuff like that against them should they give the wrong information. And we've had there was something a day or two ago where people from the SEC and the CFTC and I think the New York Regulation Office were announcing, or rather it was something along the lines of they don't want to give out information too soon because they're afraid of hampering innovation, and if you press too hard on it, you can destroy it. So they're trying to find an easy balance for them to be able to collect taxes on it, to know what's happening in the transactions, but also not to drive people away from the United States because of the laws and regulations that they're putting on top of it. I already told you guys before, I'm giving it until if we have no real information by at least the first or second month of 2019, I think that a large part of the market will move away from the States. That's not to say that it won't, or like a fraction of it won't return at some point. But we're nearing the point where other countries are now giving us information as to exactly what's happening with cryptocurrencies in their countries. And not that they've stopped caring what the U.S. is thinking, but, you can only drag this on for so long when it comes to not telling 350 million people, I think, who live in the States, what's happening with cryptocurrencies. Yeah. So this one is a debate that's been happening for quite some time. I'm going to breeze over it and you'll kind of get it. Every now and then, a major news outlet gets carried away and reports that Bitcoin will consume all the world's power. A conspiracy theorist might say that such stories are instigated by the international banking cartels in order to stoke fears that Bitcoin is not a sustainable alternative to fiat currency. And recent findings by experts on the matter will do nothing to assuage such beliefs. The fact is, it's not possible for Bitcoin to consume all the world's power, and moreover, the metrics used to reach such conclusions were faulty in the first place. Responding to an article published by Nature Climate Change and an earlier one published in Newsweek by Dr. Jonathan Kumi, has pointed out that the methodology used to make conclusions such as Bitcoin mining on track to consume all the world's energy by 2020, or Bitcoin emissions alone could push global warming above 2 Celsius is not sound. He wrote, "While I encourage everyone in the electricity sector to track Bitcoin as a potential source of new load growth, please use caution and avoid being misled by the hype. Breathless media coverage papers over the uncertainties in the underlying data and makes it seem like Bitcoin is taking over the world, but in fact, it's likely only 0.1% of global electricity consumption and is unlikely to continue growing at recent historical rates. end quote. Also, during his interesting response, he points out that Bitcoin is not the first technology to be targeted and vilified as an energy hog. He points to the reporting from the early 2000s, which asserted that internet as a whole was using more than 10% of the world's electricity, and that in fact these assertions were false, but it wasn't for years that the claims were successfully debunked, largely because good science takes time and quality data collection is hard. I saw a number of these, we've all seen them the last couple of months, where people think that the usage of mining equipment for Bitcoin and Litecoin and Ethereum is going to cause the world to go into another global warming emergency spout or something like that. Or they think that the fact that there are even Bitcoin miners, that they are producing and using up more energy and electricity and are making more emissions than all the cars that we have on this planet. There's already a big push. First of all, a lot of the new cryptocurrency miners and mining operations that are kind of out there are already trying to move away from standard electricity practices. We have a lot of them who are trying to use hydroelectricity and also trying to make sure that their energy consumption is typically done by solar panels. Not all of them, but a large number of them do. And to be fair, I mean, a lot of them are probably going to have to move to renewable energy sources as well, because it's not that they're consuming all of the world's electricity. It's just that they're using a lot of it depending on where they are. A lot of them are moving to small towns where they can get cheaper electricity, as the electricity rates are not as high in these smaller towns. And they're moving to dams and rivers and other places where they can get cheap hydroelectricity. But typically there's around 500 families living in these areas, and the factories that are mining all the Bitcoin are draining all the electricity from the other families around in that area. So this is what's causing the problem. Not to say that it is not a problem. I still don't think that Bitcoin is ever going to move over to proof of stake. A lot of people believe that Bitcoin in part derives its value from all of these computers and mining hardware and stuff like that. But I think we will eventually come to a point. We have a lot of countries already who are banning Bitcoin mining in their countries, or have they're not renewing contracts that they had before with Bitcoin mining companies and corporations. Bitcoin will find a way. I think it's just going to have to move over to a more energy efficient type of way of doing it. It is already expected. We had news a couple of months ago. Someone did a projection and figured out, this is what they said. They wrote down on a piece of paper. They said within the next, what is it, like I think 5 years or something like that, the cost of making one Bitcoin collectively as a network and energy costs will cost, I think, around $1 billion or something like that. What have you. I mean, no one knows if it's going to really get that far, what's exactly going to happen, but the showing of how high the hash rate has risen and the amount of new Bitcoin mining operations that we've had at least this year alone is probably an indication of exactly where the market or cryptocurrency or Bitcoin mining as a whole is going to go. I don't know if it's going to be any type of like doomsday situation, but if it is, let's hope that we end up avoiding it. Last up right now, the crypto market is not as bad as it could be. I'll put it that way. This is the dip right here that we had yesterday. When you look around for the reasoning why the market has gone down, I've seen so many conflicting answers. There was an article talking about that Korea and Japan have been doing something, but it was nothing negative. It was actually something very positive for the cryptocurrency space. There was information as well about that stocks right now are not doing very well in general, and a lot of people have become very afraid. And the idea is, or what could possibly be, if the stock market continues to drop and people are looking for a safe haven to put their money, as cryptocurrencies are not yet hyper established as a safe haven against the typical stock market, the sell-off could then continue to happen in our crypto markets, as well as people already see crypto as not unstable, but not maybe the not most secure investment that could be out there right now. So it really depends on where you look as to what people think is happening with the crypto market. A lot of people think the volumes are too low and therefore they're not supporting any type of buying in the market. People are saying that this could be the result of the sell-offs that we've been having in the global stock market. It could be anything as of right now. I think, in my humble opinion, I think a lot of the movements in cryptocurrencies are just things that are happening because other people are doing stuff on the network. There was also news a day ago that someone had moved a large amount of Bitcoin around the network, and therefore this is why we had this drop. I think everyone is desperately trying to look for an answer, but I think a lot of the times in the cryptocurrency space there isn't a clear answer. No one, like, you've seen before when we've had like major drops in the summertime and stuff like that, around like anywhere from 11 to 15 to 20% over the course of a week, and people have been looking, and I found about 17 different articles and they all had different information. I think everyone is trying to figure out, or everyone's very interested in building historical data for cryptocurrencies that we can't really, I mean, we're picking up some right now as seeing exactly how the market is moving and how it's behaving in accordance with other things that are happening in the financial world. There's also news that, I forgot, something with Tether. Somebody was saying that confidence in Tether has caused more people to buy back into Tether, and therefore this caused the dropping in prices. It could be a million and one things. It depends on how you want to look at the market. I told you guys before, we have a number of days where the market looks like it's doing potentially well, or things are just moving sideways, and then the market drops about 8, 9, 10, 11, 12%. People can't figure it out. People trying to figure out. People talk about that they saw something in the Chinese markets that happened, and they saw something in this country, and they think that people are responding to what happened in this African country because someone said something negative against this, and this country said so and so, and it could be the result of a trade war. And then a week and a half later, we figure out that one of the oldest cryptocurrency, or rather Bitcoin wallets that we had out there, ended up moving around 50,000 Bitcoin to a crypto exchange, and that's what actually caused the drop in price, because people were afraid that the Bitcoin were being moved around, and therefore they were about to be sold off as they were placed onto a cryptocurrency exchange. It could be anything. As of now, like I said, it's just a lot of stuff happening in the global markets in general. Don't be too upset or afraid or down. It's just, I've told you guys before, this is the market that we chose to be in. This is just how things are. I know crypto can be very difficult for a lot of people. I've seen the amount of negative comments in my comment section completely explode. Side note, for those who were wondering, this is not my announcer voice. People said that I sound like an announcer from the 1980s. I don't understand. In case you were wondering, this is actually my real voice. This is how I talk on a daily basis. I can't make you listen to my videos. I make my videos for people who don't have enough time in their day to absorb, or rather read through thousands of articles to get the information that they need. I can't please everyone. I'm just going to say it that way. It's usually nicer to say something nice as opposed to trying to shut someone down when they're trying to help everyone else out. I think that's going to do it for this video. I hope you all enjoyed. Hope you all are having a great day, morning, afternoon, and or evening. Wherever you are, wherever you might be, thank you once again for watching and or listening. I do appreciate all of your support. Thank you once again, and I'll talk to you all soon. See you.